Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Shem, Hakakadash, and the Heavenly Father. The true name is Yahweh, and His unbegotten Son, Ba'Shem, the name of Mashiach Yahushua. Those are their true names in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the Mashwan Kadash tongue. And I say Barakatham to the elders, or Akim Aqua, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson of prophecy updates as of November 29th, 2024 on this Friday night. It says Syrian authorities closes Aleppo airport and canceled all flights, military source said. Syrian authorities closed Aleppo airport and canceled all flights, a military source told Reuters earlier on Saturday, as Syrian rebels opposed to President Bashar al-Assad said on Friday that they had reached the heart of the northern city of Aleppo. And I believe Russian forces had used an airstrike on them as well too, I would say, from Jihad, if I'm not mistaken. It says, I believe that news article came from RT.com. It says the Syrian army closed main roads out of the city of Aleppo as troops were told to follow safe withdrawal orders from neighboring, which insurgents speedily overran, three Syrian army sources told Reuters. It says the move effectively sealed the city as the army gave instructions at checkpoints outside the city to only allow passage and enter to army troops, the sources told Reuters. Go to RT.com. And it says news article from RT.com as of November 29th, 2024 that reads, Russia jets back Syrian counteroffensive, military says. Hundreds of jihad fighters have been killed around Aleppo, Moscow says. Russian fighter jet stationed in Syria has carried out airstrikes against jihad militants attacking the northern city of Aleppo. The spokesperson of Moscow expeditionary forces has said the Hayat Terror al-Sham ATS group and allies militants attacked government-controlled territories in northern Syria on Wednesday, breaking the Flash Trust mediated by Russia and Turkey in 2020. Providence supports and the Syrian air armies. The Russian aerospace forces carry out a missile and bomb strikes on the equipment and manpower. Illegally armed groups, command posts, warehouses, artillery positions, and groups. Over the past 24 hours, at least 200 militants have been eliminated. Colonel Elgrag Ajanpov, the deputy head of the Russian Red Coalition Center for Syria, told reporters in a briefing on Friday. He added that another 400 militants were killed by Russian and Syrian forces the day before. Earlier in the day, the ATS told Al Jazeera and Turkey's Anadolu news agencies that its fighter has entered neighboring Aleppo, and the groups claim to have control over 400 square kilometers land of Aleppo and Idlib province and captured heavy weaponry and other equipment from the Syrian army. Video shares on social media shows the ATC gunmen moving Aleppo on foot in armored vehicles. The government in Damascus said its troops have inflicted heavy losses on the attacks and regained control of some areas. Local media reported on the arrival of Syrian army's reinforcements at both Idlib and Aleppo on Friday, both adopting the current name in 2017. The HTS was known as the Jabhat al-Shunura and was one of the main factions opposing President Bashar's government during the Syrian civil war. The Jabhat al-Nusra was originally founded on the offshoot of al-Qaeda in Syria. Russia intervened in the conflict in 2015 in helping Assad retake most of the countries from the al-Nusra Islamic State, formerly known as ISIS, and dozens of U.S. support armed groups are described the Washington as moderate rebels. It says Syrian forces lifted nearly 5-year siege of Aleppo in December 2016 and pushed out Nusra and other groups west of El Idlib province. Turkey took responsibility for the Idlib in 2018, vowing to separate groups from the legitimate rebels, but never did so. A March 2020 agreement between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Turkey President Erdogan was meant to permanently end the fighting around Idlib. Bring out that Luke. My car's starting to get slow. It's the book of Luke 21, verse 25. It says, "And there shall be signs in the sun, and the moon, and the stars upon the earth. The scores of nations will perplex and seize Jerusalem, right, due to the seditions, the uprisings, and the uproars of people of the world." Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 3. "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of people in the world," right, so increasing earthquakes and increasing uproars of people in the world. Second Ezra 15, in verse 15. It says, "For the sword of destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in hands." We know the modern day sword is a weapon. Second Ezra 15, verse 16. "For there should be sedition among men, invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor their princes, and the course of their actions stand their power." It's the book of St. Mark, chapter 3, and verse 23. "And he called them unto him and say in a parable, how can Satan cast out Satan?" St. Mark 3, verse 24. "And if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand." St. Mark 3, verse 25. "And if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand." St. Mark chapter 3, verse 26. "And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, cannot stand, but have an end." And this is the book of Matthew 24, in verse 6. "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet." Matthew 24, verse 7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." As it says again, Russia jets back Syrian counter-offensive military, says hundreds of jihad fighters have been killed around Aleppo, Moscow says. So man, this just that just came out of nowhere over there in Aleppo, Syria. Even though that happened previously back in 2016 through 2018, because you've been having Russia and Syria, you know, they was allies, because you had rebel leaders back then. They was opposing the president Assad and the government officials as well too, that they was going to escalate against, you know, those proxy groups of the jihad. Now they made their resurgence once again. So you had Russia recently did an airstrike over there, airstrike to aid assist the Syrian armies going against the resurgence of the jihad. It says dozens of civilians killed by militant assault in Syria. Jihad claims to reach outskirts of Aleppo in surprise offense. It says, that's definitely a uprising resurgence of that. It says Kremlin comments on the Syrian escalations. It says Russia hopes Damascus will restore order in Aleppo province, which had been targeted by groups in a surprise offense. Spokesperson Dmitry Peskov says. Right, so like I mentioned once again, you know, Russia is allies with Syria, especially, you know, the rebels the rebels over there, quite a while was going against the president of Bashar and the government officials as well too, as Russia then continued to aid and assisting in that area. So now we see, the resurgence of the proxy groups of jihad as of lately, which they did previously. Now you see once again a few years later of the resurgence of them. So we're gonna see how it plays out. So I'm gonna bring up that Matthew 24 verse 7. That ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet. Matthew 24 verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Bring up that Luke 21 verse 25 once again. And this is the book of Luke 21 verse 25. And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, disgressive nations, right? Uncertainty, increasing disgressive nations, clashing against one another, ethnicities clashing against one another, different armies of races clash against one another, the seditions, the uprisings, and the uproars of people of the world. And there shall be signs in the sun and the moon and the stars upon the earth, disgressive nations will perplex and seize raging war. Exit that up. What encourages me is everybody does like each other. It's talking back in cases. So he said, if we were brought to our core, then all this stuff would be preventing us from to the news now articles. It says Putin threatens Kyiv with new hypersonic cruise missiles. Right, another sign of wars and rumors of wars. As we've been seeing, the Russia-Ukraine situation definitely been intensifying. As you had Russia did another rocket launch of, I would say another heavy rocket launch over there in Kyiv. That's why it says a woman stands in a balcony above the electric generated during a partial blackout in Kyiv, Ukraine on November the 28th following Russia's strike on Ukraine energy infrastructure. It says Putin threats Kyiv with new hypersonic cruise missiles, and this is from the VOA as of November the 29th, 2024. It says Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday threatens to strike decision-making centers in Ukraine capital Kyiv with Russian new Orsink hypersonic cruise missiles. Right, and these are the same missiles that they was testing as well too. It says after the pounding Ukraine energy infrastructure and cutting off power to more than 1 million people across the country. It says we do not rule out the use of the Orsink against the military, industrial, or decision-making centers, including Kyiv, putting towards a news conference in the Kharkiv capital and Estonia, if I pronounced that right. He said that the launch Thursday's drone and missiles attack in Ukraine's energy infrastructure in response to Ukraine strikes on Russian territories with U.S. medium-range ATACMS missiles. The attack marks Russia's second biggest attack on Ukraine energy infrastructure this month. Officials say it was the 11th most strike on Ukraine's energy system since March. It says Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky accused Moscow of a despicable escalations, said it has used cruise missiles with cluster munitions. The attack marks Russia's second big attack on Ukraine energy infrastructure this month. Officials say it was the 11th major strike on Ukraine's energy system since March. Russian President Vladimir Putin said Moscow launched the attack in response to Ukraine strikes Russian territory with U.S. mid-range autonomous missiles. Putin also said Russia's future targets could include decision-making centers in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Ukraine called the international community to respond to Putin's threats to target government centers in Kyiv. We expect to those countries to have everyone to avert the expansion of the war to react to the statement voiced by Putin today. The Ukraine foreign minister spokesperson of Taiwan says, in addition to more than 1 million people who lost power in the aftermath of the strikes, millions more has their existing schedules road power cuts escalated. It says the Ukraine Air Force used 91 missiles and 97 drones in the assault. The Air Forces said 12 of those hit targets, the majority of which energies and fuel facilities. All missiles aimed at Kyiv were brought down, and officials say. The enemy is using a large number of missiles and drones, and their missiles used in these certain areas often exceeds the number of means of air defense covers, the Air Force said in a statement. In the Lviv region of 550,000 subscribers lost electricity. Regional head Maskum Kwazatitsai said on social media, the region in the western part of the country bordered Poland. It's the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Get 50% off beauty gift sets and more, only at Target. For tonight's access brought to you by This is Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 4. And I will turn thee, it says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horse and horsemen, all of them clothed for all sorts of army, all of them clothed for all sorts of armor, and all of them buckling shields, heavenly swords. Right, so the Heavenly Father's putting that warlike mindset of these Russians, of the Russian Federation, while we're seeing the Russia-Ukraine situation is intensifying and heating up. Ezekiel 38 and verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with all of them with shield of him. As we see in Russia over there in Syria using heavy airstrikes on those proxy groups, because you have Russia and Syria as allies. With the situation with President Bashar and the government of the rebels and the nations over there, the armies clashing against within. And then you've been seeing the recent ones that they've been going against the Israel Defense Force as well too. So it's definitely heating up over there in the area in Syria as well too, throughout the whole region, especially over there in Damascus of Syria. Like it says in the book of Isaiah 17 verse 1, Damascus should take away, should be in a city, and there should be its royal heat. Ezekiel 38 verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, Libya will follow them with shield of helmet. Ezekiel 38 verse 6, Gomer was the model of Turks, and all his bands the house of Togarmah up the north quarters, and all his bands many people with thee. Ezekiel 38 verse 7, Eat thou prepare for thyself and all thy companies that are assembled unto thee, be thou a guard unto them. As it says again from VOA News, November the 29th, 2024, Putin threatens Kyiv with new hypersonic cruise missiles, right as the Russia-Ukraine situation is intensifying. As Russia did their largest military strike over there in the area ever since the Russia-Ukraine situation been intensifying. And that's another sign of wars and rumors of wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Another sign of wars and rumors of wars. And this is a news article from November the 29th, 2024, and it reads, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, Russia has right to exercise self-defense against Ukraine. Right, as seeing the Russia-Ukraine situation is intensifying. And you had Moscow and North Korea signed that cooperation deal with each other. And then you had North Korea, I would say a month and a half ago, recently deployed the troops over there to aid assist Ukraine while the Russia-Ukraine situation has been taking place. And you had South Korea and the United States armies accused of North Korea for sending troops over there. It says North Korean leader Kim Jong-un told Russian Defense Ministry Ukraine's use of long-range missiles is a result of a direct military intervention by the United States, and Moscow is entitled to take action in self-defense, state media says on Saturday. Kim met with Russian Defense Ministry Andrea Beskova on Friday. It said the U.S. and the West made Kyiv authorize attacks Russia's territory with their own long-range strike weapons. Russia should take action to make hostile forces pay the price, the KCNA news agency says. Kim pledged to expand ties with Russia in all areas, including military affairs, under the comprehensive strategic partnership he signed with Russian President Vladimir Putin in June, which includes the Mutual Defense Agreement, the KCNA says. The KCNA no mention of whether Kim and Basketball discussed North Korea's deployment of troops to Russia. Right, another sign of wars and rumors of wars. As we've been seeing the increasing cooperation between Moscow and North Korea as they signed that cooperation deal in the month of June. And potentially with the deployment of the troops from North Korea heading towards that Russia-Ukraine situation.
Hello, Moto.
Slovakia for that momentarily pause. Had got a phone call. So once again it says North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, Russia has right to exercise self-defense against Ukraine. Right, once again that's another sign of wars and rumors of wars. As we've been seeing the increasing cooperation between Moscow and North Korea as they signed that military cooperation deal. It's the book of Matthew 24 and verse 6, and it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars." Right, Russia versus Ukraine, North Korea versus South Korea, Japan, and the United States. So these are signs of wars and rumors of wars, and we see the increasing cooperation between China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea going against the Western countries. These are signs of wars and rumors of wars, and we're seeing what's taking place over there in Syria. You know, the resurgence of the rebel groups, of the proxy groups of jihad. You know, Russia using heavy airstrikes over there to help assist Russia. So these are signs of uproars of people in the world, seditions, uprisings, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and increasing wars and rumors of wars. Matthew 24 verse 6, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must first come to pass, but the end is not yet." Right, so it's going to come to pass, but it's not going to end just yet. So we're going to be seeing the increasing of wars and rumors of wars among the nations rising up against one another, especially these proxy wars and these nuclear escalations heating up among the nations. Matthew 24 verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation, right? Different ethnicity groups of armies of nations rise up against one another." That leads into the nuclear wars, which is heating up right now, especially over there in Western Asia. Matthew 24, verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. It's the book of Revelations, 11, verse 14. It's the book of Revelations 11, verse 14 reads, the second will pass, behold, third will come quickly, right Armageddon, armor got won. So the second world distress came to pass, and the third world distress coming quickly. So nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, seditions, uprisings, upwards of people of the world, the squares of nations were perplexing, Caesar is born, that's what we're seeing. Armageddon, armor got won in World War III, that's what we're seeing. So go back to more news articles. And this is a news article, even though Lebanon and Israel, they under a current ceasefire, it's been lasting for the three days straight. And then you've been having, I would say, the IDF, which is the Israel Defense Force, has accused Hezbollah of the pro-Iranian groups of accusing them for violating the ceasefire, because you've been having pro-Iranian groups been smuggling missiles and all weaponry to assist, the proxy groups and pro-Iranian groups throughout that region of Iraq and Syria, and over there in the Gaza Strip, the Palestinian territory, and throughout Lebanon as well too. As you've been seeing, the current ceasefire is holding up, but there definitely been a ceasefire. That's why you've been having the Israel Defense Force using airstrikes towards those that's been smuggling weaponry in that region. And this is I just want to add a side note to that. It says this is a news article as of November the 30th, 2024 by the Jerusalem Post staff, and it reads, the IDF, which is the Israel Defense Force, intercepted aerial target from the east. The IDF announced it has intercepted a suspicious aerial target that was approaching the Israeli territory from the east, according to the update. On Friday, the target was intercepted prior to the crossing into Israeli territory. So I'm going to go to Time of Israel. It might give it more insight, more update about it. It says U.S. appoints Major General Jeffers to oversee the Lebanese ceasefire mechanism, like to check and see if the deal is still in place. While they currently under the ceasefire, it says Syrian rebels said they reached Aleppo center in lightning sweep. It says Syrian authorities closed Aleppo airport, canceling all flights, military source reports. And this is a news article, like it says, uproars of people of the world, the distress of nations will perplex and Caesar is born. As read that Luke 21, verse 25, second Esdras, the 15th chapter, in second Esdras 9, verse 3, as I reference those scriptures. And this is a news article from timeofisrael.com, and it reads, from Emmanuel Fathom, as of November 29, 2024 at 3:37 p.m., last updated at 5:40 p.m., and it reads, Hamas person opens fire at an Israeli civilian bus in West Bank. 8 wounded, 3 seriously. A Palestinian gunman who used a M16 assault rifle shot dead by troops. The Al Qassam bridge names him as Samir Mohammed Ahmad, 46. The IDF ruled out of a possible second gunman. At least 8 people were wounded, 3 of them seriously, when a Hamas person opened fire at a civilian bus near the West Bank settlement area on Friday. The West Bank. The assailant was shot dead by security forces, according to the Magan Adam Ambulance Service. 4 people were hit by gunfire, including 3 in seriously conditions and 1 in moderate, and another 4 people were lightly wounded by broken glass, the NBA says. The militant says the 4 of the wounded were soldiers and all lightly wounded. Bring out that this is the book of Ecclesiasticus 39 verse 28. It says there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore stroke. At the time of destruction, they pour out the force to appease the wrath of him that made it. Right, and it says in the book of Genesis, 16th chapter, Ishmael should be as a wild man. That's what we see what's taking place. So we're definitely going to be seeing the increasing of the resistance from the Palestinians going against the Israel Defense Force. It says Netanyahu, this is from the AFP. It says this is from the AFP as of November the 29th, 2024, and it reads, last updated at 1:04 a.m. from the time of Israel.com. It says Netanyahu holds assessments on Syria as jihad enters Aleppo in lightning assault. Alliance by the Al-Qaeda's former Syria's Brest takes control of some 50 towns and villages in the Assad regime, the biggest loss in territory in years. It says Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu held a special security discussion Friday evening with the head of the defense establishment to discuss the new internal fighting in Syria and the ceasefire in Lebanon that halted more than 13 months of fighting in Hezbollah. Syrian rebel jihad opposed to President Bashar launched in a surprising offense through the government that held towns in recent days. The opposing fighters, led by Islamic militant group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, launched an incursion on Wednesday into dozens of towns and villages in the northern province of Aleppo. On Friday, they said they reached the center of the city of Aleppo itself, and they pressed their lightning offense against forces of the Iranian and the Russian-backed government. Assad has allies, Russia, Iran. It says Assad has allies, Russia, Iran, and regional Shiite militants has retaken all of Aleppo city in late 2016. Insurgents agreeing to withdraw after months of bombardment and siege in a battle that turned into a tide against the opposition. Right, that goes into that Luke 21 verse 25. The disgressive nations will be placed in the siege regime. It says Hamas delegates expected to Cairo Saturday for hostage talks.